Hey, Jim.
How are you guys
How's it going?
All right, Jensen, let me get right at it. Today, you just announced a long-term strategic partnership that I think centers on bringing artificial intelligence into the real-world economy. It's part of the fourth industrial revolution. Now, we're talking about trillions of dollars, trillions in creation of new iterations, aerospace, autos, materials. You've been working together for ages. Why is this particular partnership so important?
We started working with Dassault Systems 25 years ago during the last major platform transition from workstations and mainframes to personal computers. Now we're working together again in this next computing platform transition when we move from classical general purpose computing to now accelerated computing and AI. This partnership between us is incredible because the next frontier of artificial intelligence is physical AI. This is where AI understands the physical world, and we apply artificial intelligence to design, simulate, validate, and operate incredible systems. And as you know, we're in the beginning of the next industrial revolution, the largest infrastructure build out in history, and we're building all of these plants, chip plants, computer plants, and AI factories. And all of these plants are going to be powering the industries of today, car companies, aircraft companies, and so on and so forth. And so Dassault Systems, it's at the center of that. And for the first time, we're integrating all of NVIDIA's platform technologies, NVIDIA CUDA-X, NVIDIA AI, NVIDIA Omniverse, into the Dassault Systems suite of tools. This is completely revolutionary, and we're so excited about it.
All right, so I see a world where things that we envisioned but couldn't afford are going to be affordable with this. So, Pascal, I've been thinking, one of the major airlines, aerospace companies told me, we got to get back into the fast game. We got to be able to make it so there's a plane that can leave New York and land in London in 3 hours. But it's too expensive to design. How would you make it so it's not too expensive?
This is the purpose of the partnership, which is to accelerate the design and the simulation and everything we have to build virtually before to make it real. Now, right now, we can uplift many, many things. There are many, many things like certification of the airplane, like the quality management, like the compliance check, which are becoming late into the process. With what we are building together, we could uplift them and give the ability to squeeze the time to be much more productive and much more accurate the first time.
I do want to say that.
And Jim, look,
sure.
The stuff that we're doing together will make it possible for us to simulate with artificial intelligence and accelerated computing so much larger scale and so much more quickly. Just give you one example. Instead of simulating some parts of your design and then using putting your product into a air chamber or into a crash simulation, we're going to do everything digitally. This idea of a virtual digital twin so that we could basically do all product design and testing completely digitally is going to save enormous amounts of time, enormous amounts of money.
Okay, so Pascal, I was with an incredible fireside chat with Jensen and David Ricks from Lilly, and they're talking about developing new drugs. You have a life sciences division, but most of these drugs just cost too much money, and the iterations are too expensive. What could you do to make it so that we would see iterations of things that we could never dream of because of this partnership?
It costs, in average, $2 billion to develop a new drugs. And more than 60% is spent on the clinical trial. And why this is expensive? Because you have to test it physically, in the reality. There is a way to virtualize part of the clinical trial. That's what we do. We call it the synthetic control arm, which is a way to create a virtual cohort, if you want, and do a virtual trial rather than to have to do it completely over the time. This is really squeezing it significantly, and based on the different case we have, we could probably gain something like 50% of the cost.
We're going to do the same that we do with planes in a wind tunnel. We're going to do drugs in a virtual wet lab, and we could discover and engineer new drugs much, much more effectively as a result.
I do hope people who are listening know that it's not just hyperscalers that use these chips, and that this economy is 90%. 90% of the economy involves exactly what we're talking about. Maybe 10% involves what I do want to ask Jensen about, because there's a lot of confusion. And I want to clear it up. And I want to clear it up right now, because I think we can put a fork into the confusion that we're hearing. There's a lot of talk, Jensen, about the OpenAI investment. Now, I find it after a while tedious. However, many people in the press are convinced that you want to walk away from a major initial investment of $100 billion into OpenAI, that it's stalled, that you're not that interested, that there's been a lot of private criticism, even for the $10 billion per 1 gigawatt that you put in. Can we end this? Is there really controversy about this?
No, there's no controversy at all. It's complete nonsense. We love working with OpenAI. We are incredibly honored and delighted to be able to invest in their next round. And so we're privileged that they're inviting us to invest for each one of their rounds. We would love to be invited, and we would consider, of course, investing in it. This is one of the most consequential technology companies in history. And this will by far be one of the most exciting investments. And I'm delighted to be invited, and we'll consider every single one. We are going to invest in their next round. We're looking forward to Sam closing it, and he's doing terrifically. And we will invest in the next round. There's no question about that.
Okay, then it is confusing to me why both the initial deal that was announced, and we were talking about one that has not been confirmed, where you're talking about putting money with them. This is separate from the second one with the deal, in order to be able to invest, again, to be able to make it so that 1 gigawatt, $10 billion. And then the second thing about the investment with the in a possible IPO, we keep hearing from the Wall Street Journal, from Reuters, the deal's on ice, that it can't be done, that there's so much dispute. Another thing that makes me upset, Jensen, is that perhaps it is possible that there's motivation here to kill the deal, because I'm not hearing anything from either party that sounds like this.
Well, nothing that we're doing on the inside is that dramatic. You know, there's a lot of stories about it, but I think that OpenAI and Sam are doing a great job raising this current round. This will be the largest private round ever raised in history, and I don't know any other company that possibly could do this. I mean, all of this is possible because the amount of offtake, the amount of traffic, the amount of interest that they have in their product. What they need more than anything right now is compute. When they have compute, it will directly translate to revenues for them, because as you know, in the world of AI, infrastructure, the computing, the AI factories is what produces the tokens, the AI that ultimately drives their revenues. And so the more compute they have, the greater revenues they will have. And so their trajectory, their revenue growth trajectory is going to be unlike anything the world's ever seen. And this is a great investment opportunity. I'm delighted to do it. In working with OpenAI, there is no drama. This round's going to get done. It's going to be the largest round in history. It's going to be oversubscribed.
Okay, remember,
it's going to be.
There are two
they're
rounds.
Doing terrifically.
There's two rounds. There's a September deal, where you talked about $10 billion per gigawatt, and that was pre-AMD, for instance. And then there's the round for the IPO. Are both of them on? Because the first one there's a lot of talk that one has just kind of gone away, that you're not going to do that deal, the original $100 billion. This is the last I will ask of this, because I think we can put the end right here to questions about whether that first deal is on or off.
The first deal is on.
It's on.
I think I think there's a round that OpenAI is going to do, that Sam's going to do before the IPO, and if that round is on, then we're in, and I think the round is on.
Okay.
And then there's of course an IPO in the future, and we love to be participating in that as well. And so this is a fantastic company, and it's, I've said before, this is a once in a generation company. We're delighted to invest in it.
Well, it doesn't sound like that there's a rocky relationship between the two. It doesn't sound like the deal's on ice. It doesn't sound like there's grave problems. It doesn't sound like there are 8 different sources saying this one can't happen. It doesn't sound like any of that to me.
And there's no drama involved. Everything's on track.
All right, I'd like to go back to substance. I appreciate the horse race deal. It's important for some people. I'd rather talk about the 90 trillion that is the world economy. And I want to go back to Pascal because I think that it's only fair to say that maybe we can look to you to design quickly machines and factories involving memory, which is the single biggest block right now to what we all want to accomplish. It takes years. I was with Sanjay Mehrotra the other day. I cannot believe how long it takes to build even a disk drive factory. Can you cut it down?
In fact, when you build virtually, you can automatically do not only the engineering part, but you could do the testing, you could do the commissioning, you could do the ramp-up. So everything usually you do physically, you can anticipate it and to do virtually. This is saving a lot of time and a lot of money to make this happen. And when you have to build so much factory around the world, that's the only way.
Okay, and Jensen, last word, humanoid robots. You showed me one almost 10 years ago, and you weren't satisfied. You weren't satisfied with the hand. You weren't satisfied with what you could tell them. The partnership together, can you develop robots much faster than anyone else when you put your minds together on this?
Dassault Systems builds the tools that the world makes machines from. Cars and factories and robots and all kinds of consumer electronics products, even luxury goods. It's designed in SolidWorks or designed in CATIA, it's simulated in Simulia. Of course, the factories are simulated and operated and planned, using Delmia. There's so many IAs. In fact, all of Dassault Systems tools, these CATIAs and Simulias, are built on top of Nvidia, and as a result, the speed and the capability and the scale are just incredible. The future, and this is where the era we're in now, is using digital design, virtual twins of the products. They're going to be built by virtual twins of robots, operating in virtual twins of factories. And all of this will be designed digitally in tools. And they will be designed, validated, operated, and all done inside these virtual twins running on top of NVIDIA computing platforms. And so this is the way it's going to be done going forward.
Well, I'm just glad I saw it. I hope to see it in my lifetime.
Thanks, Jim.